Good morning. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining. Marques Pagan, National Sales Trainer here at Innovative Financial Group. And today we're embarking on our four-part series talking about mortgage protection as well as the in-home process. Kind of give you guys a point of view of what I say to the actual clients, as well as what I'm thinking, what my thought processes are, and just to my mindset as I'm progressing throughout the whole entire presentation. So what we try to do is break this down into about four sections over the next 4 weeks, going over these different weekly calls and kind of touching on different pieces and parts of that in-home presentation to better help you guys understand how that looks, how that sounds, how that works. Today, so like I said, we're going to start with the front end of it. What is mortgage protection? Essentially, it's just a marketing concept that we use of helping people that either have recently bought a home, refinanced the house, or took out an equity line to help use an insurance product to cover those options, those different loan types. So whether it be from the living benefits, for illness, like chronic, terminal, critical illness, if they were sick or ill, as well as the death piece of it being that standalone death benefit option. So a lot of the different products are going to kind of gear towards that. You have your term options, your whole life options, as well as your universal life products as well. We kind of use all of them depending on the whole situation. But it's like I said, the main concept is if something wanted to happen to them, they want to make sure that their family and their loved ones are taken care of instead of a place to live. So we're gearing our products to take care of those different loans and help that family transition appropriately throughout that financial hardship that could happen if a main income earner would pass away. So with that, we're going to jump into this. Share my screen with you guys so you guys have access to it. All right, you guys should be able to see it. So this is the Mortgage Protection Playbook, something that I've put together. Been doing this for almost 5 years now, and learned a lot of stuff from my late business partner, Brandon Lewis, and he was an instrumental part of the business for me learning it, how it all works, as well as really laying the foundation for me of the whole mortgage protection side of the business. So this is somewhat homage to him, putting together everything that he has taught me as well as other IFG agents into a nice about 55-page book now, kind of going through the ins and outs of mortgage protection across the board. So we're going to use this as one of our tools today, kind of help dig into the in-home process. So with that, you see the book. You're talking what is mortgage protection, the goal setting, targets, expectations, product knowledge, techniques. Throughout this 4-week process, we're going to touch on a lot of these different points. From what I look at it from my point of view as the agent, as well as what I'm trying to portray to the client so they know what's all happened, how everything works. So with that, we're going to kick over to the in-home process sheet. So you might have seen this before. It's my personal sheet that I use inside of the house. It's also shared on our university page as well as our Google Drive. It seems very basic. It is what I've been using for 5 years. It helps me as an agent remember to stay on top of some of the same basic points and get the same points across. It keeps my pitch consistent across the board. For every single appointment, I'm saying the same things. As well as for a newer agent, it keeps a fresh reminder of what you should be saying and what things you should be covering for those families to understand how this process really works for them. So like I said, we'll be jumping back and forth, but the big one is, like I said, this takes excerpt from the actual playbook. Step one is going to be the bond and rapport process. So in here, as I pull up to the house, I'm going to wave to it. It sounds cheesy, but it catches the people that are inside the blinds peeking or see who's pulled up inside their driveway. So it helps mitigate some of the no-shows that you end up having because they feel that they've been seen. So it gets them to answer that door and still keep that actual appointment they end up booking with you. So I wave, knock on the door. As soon as I get up there, I'm going to take a couple steps back down to that first step or even the second step. Don't want to feel like I'm on top of them, give them a little bit of room to answer the actual door. And then I'm going to say, hey, my name is Marques. We had an appointment set for whatever the time is, and ask if I may enter. They're usually going to let you in, and then you basically want to find where they're comfortable to sit. So some people, they want to go right towards the kitchen table. Personally, wherever they're comfortable, I've sold this on the hood of cars, front porches, back porches, garages, dining room table, couch, anywhere. I've probably done it. So wherever they feel comfortable. As I'm going in, I'm going to notice a couple different things. You want to be a noticer during the bond and rapport process. Notice the paint color on the house, the walls, there's a funky colored door, make a small comment about it. But in that rapport process, we're going to spend about 5 to 7 minutes. I mean, for a newer agent, I always push towards asking at least 5 questions. So how long have you lived here? Do you guys choose this paint color? Are those the grandkids or your children on the, you see some family photos hanging up? You guys see the game last night? Like I said, I'm in Buckeye territory, so I mean, when Ohio State plays, everyone knows about it. So whatever's in your area, just be relatable and strike some small talk conversation. Or another good question, especially on those older folks, do you guys do your own landscaping? Know it's a real well put together yard. Just making those small comments gets them talking, get them to open up and start conversing with you as you present throughout the whole presentation. So I mean, next step, looking at the actual process. So this is where, from a new agent standpoint, it's really getting down to the nuts and bolts. So a transition phrase may sound, oh man, I can talk for forever. Let's go back to the reason I was actually stopping on by, pull out the lead card, and start to get into the actual business piece of the whole presentation. Because when we first go in, you definitely want to be the what I call the friend, and kind of get them to trust you, start conversing with you. But then you also want to be intentional with your time as well as their time, and transition into that business role as the consumer advocate or the advisor for them in terms of the one that knows about the mortgage protection options. So number 2 is going to be the actual process. So this is where I tell the story of the old way versus the new way. So the old way, this used to be included into your mortgage. Some may remember it as credit life. Back when you paid for it, the bank owned it. Something were to happen to you, the bank actually got the check, not your family. So what that means, something were to happen, they got the check, and you're stuck paying out the difference of the actual mortgage balance. Or if there's a policy to pay it out and it's more than what the mortgage was actually currently worth, the bank would make the actual difference. So it's a real good deal for the bank, not so much for you guys as on the consumer end of it. So the new way, after the housing crash, 2008, 2009, government stepped in and made it separate. So you actually own your insurance policy. So what that means for you, you get to choose who you go with. You get to customize it. It's fully transferable. So get a bigger house, smaller house, go get a beachfront condo. That policy is going to transfer with you to that brand new property, as well as not only do you can name the actual beneficiary, but it allows them to get the check and do with it as they actually please. So it basically takes all the decision-making process away from the bank and puts everything on your guys' terms. So you're more behind the different, or more in charge of those different options and do things on your terms, not on the bank's terms. So basically, all my job is going to the next piece is figure out what you guys want to qualify for and what you're eligible for, as well as figure out the best product in the program budget. It does us no good to put something in place if it breaks the bank, right? So that's a little ad lib I put in there. You always want to start agreeing with the actual client that you are budget conscious, just like they are. They are human beings. So if you establish that relationship of, hey, I know how budgets work. I'm not here to break the bank, and get them nodding and get them into the saying yes mood. That's going to help us throughout the actual presentation when we get to the very end of it. Next piece is all we do today is the application. You definitely want to openly come out and say this. It's going to set that tone, that foundation throughout the whole presentation of we're going to go through all of this information. And at the very end of it, if something makes sense, we're going to do some paperwork today. So laying that foundation of we're going to do something today, once again, gets them in nodding their heads, saying yes, and understanding how this thing actually works out for them. From here, I'm going to do a couple different things. So I use an in-home leave behind form. It has all the different carrier images. So some people have it on the back of their business cards. Just showing them someone who we actually represent, who we get a chance to actually work with. It kind of puts them at ease to know, hey, this is who we get a chance to work with, and these are the different carrier options. They might recognize some of the company's pictures, the names, and so forth. But it lets them know that we deal with reputable A-rated carriers, and we have about 15 to 16 of them to actually choose from. So it gives them an impression that we are actually here to shop for them. We're going to help them through that daunting shopping process. So all we do today is the application. That whole process itself takes about 30 to 45 days start to finish. What we do is we send it over to the insurance carriers. The insurance company is going to say one of three things. Either no, maybe, they want more information from us, or they're going to say yes. This one's very important. When they say yes, Next thing I tell them is it's going to draft the first premium. So if they say yes, they're going to draft the first premium, which means immediate coverage. So this is to help overcome that objection before it even comes up of, are they going to draft my bank account? Do I need to give you a voided check today? All those objections about money and that whole trust factor, I'm bringing that up on the forefront within the first 5 to 10 minutes of me being there, to weed those people out that are very offlandish or not really sure about doing that. It helps you to save time and not get in front of the right people that actually want to see you and understand how this thing works. So we're going to draft the first premium immediately upon approval. That whole process, underwriting-wise, takes about 3 to 5 business days. Then about a week later, they actually mail you guys the policy. Once you get your hands on that policy is what we call a 20-day free look period by state law. Fancy words for 20 days to go up in coverage, down in coverage, whatever you guys want to do with it, you're in full control the whole entire time. Does that make sense? They usually start nodding their head. But the big thing is to kind of give them expectation of time. How long is this whole process really going to take to go to point A to point B? So when I say it's 30 to 45 days start to finish, what we're really looking at is, as I write on this thing for you. So we're here, and it says, make that a little bit smaller. So we say 30 to 45 days. Underwriting itself, we're looking at 3 to 5. And then mail policy, looking at about 7 to 10. And then free look, which is this section right here, we don't put it on here. Every state's slightly different. It's the reason why we don't put it on there. Looking at between 20 to 30 days. So I say 20 because it's kind of depending on what state I'm actually selling in. It varies. But if you were to add all these days up, so on the long end of underwriting, we're talking 5 days, and we're talking about 10 days for them to get the policy, you're already at 15 days. That's already 2 weeks by the time that we sit down with them, and by the time they get the actual policy, it's going to be about a 2-week period. Once they get their hands on it, throw in a minimum 20 days on top of that. So you're looking at right about 35 days start to finish. It's like some companies, or some states, they give you the 30-day window. You're really looking at about almost 45 days exactly. So it's just like it gives them a good expectation of what to expect throughout the whole entire process. Like I said, it used to have the free look period on there. We used to say the word cancel as well. We always get a ton more chargebacks. So when I say throughout that free look period, it gives you a couple options. Go up in coverage, down in coverage, or wherever you guys want to do with it. You're in full control the whole entire time. But when I say that throughout that phrase, I'm implying they can make any type of adjustment. Up in coverage, down in coverage. If they want to cancel, they can go ahead and do it. But I'm not going to openly say the word cancel. It gives a negative vibe. You end up finding people that are what we call shoppers. They just get everything done. Everything goes smooth throughout the house. And 2 weeks later, as soon as they get their hands on that policy, they're going to end up canceling it. So I leave that very open-ended on a purpose, just because I want them to understand that if I'm sitting down going through all this information with you, I imagine you are a serious buyer that wants to protect their actual family. So we're going to make sure we get it right the first time, and we're going to put all this stuff in, implying that you do want this stuff to actually happen. But it's used to put people at ease that decisions technically aren't made exactly right now. We still have to see if they get medically underwritten or qualified for the actual product. Even though we're using the non-meds, they still qualify and underwriters still approve them. I mean, it is a little bit of actual process. So as an agent coming out and giving them that good foundation and baseline of what to expect, it's going to make you look more professional and know what the hell you're talking about. So therefore, there isn't any type of confusion throughout that whole presentation process. So between that, next one kind of touch on a bit is the why am I here? So it's the very first question of this one-page sheet. So we got the bond and rapport process, the process itself. It's going over the different bullet points. Your initial concerns would be the third step. Fourth is going to be your general information, kind of getting their name, date of birth, address, working, income, as well as current life insurance or work coverage. Number 5 is going to be your medical information, kind of getting their height, weight, tobacco status, any type of medical impairments or health challenges, as we call them. Number 6 would be your call your senior underwriter. That's essentially your lifeline as well as your underwriting verification partner or your upline manager, just to make sure that you're on the right track in terms of what you're actually looking at. And then our step 7 on this guy is going to be the takeaway. So what that is making sure that you tie down that actual sale, that whole appointment all made sense. Everything you did in place makes sense for them financially, and then they understand how the coverage actually works. And to help make sure that that sale is not going to fall off the books. Another agent's not going to come in behind you and try to undercut the pricing, undercut the product. So it's a real good tie down to make sure that they know who they're dealing with is actually going to be you throughout the whole entire process. So number 3, by far probably the most important question of this whole entire sheet is the why am I here? So why is this important? This is getting you the information as an agent of why are you actually stopping by? Why are you showing up at this family's house? What information are they really looking for? What are they going after? What are their pain points to basically why they need the actual coverage? So this is, like I said, definitely a more powerful question. It's very, very important. But the why am I here can go in numerous different ways. And when I ask this question, I ask it very bluntly, looking for that direct answer. So I'm gonna take that lead card, I'm gonna push it in front of the client, I'm gonna tap on it twice, say, okay, now Mr. and Mrs. Jones, so when you guys sent this form back into us, what was your initial concern? And I'm looking for them to give me some feedback, give me some answers. If it's a lead card that has questions on it or has some bullet points, I want them to give me some feedback of what they're actually looking for. So when I go through the product presentation, I'm going to know what products are going to be the best fit, or what products can cater closer to their needs to get them the proper coverage. So a lot of times you get the basic answer of, well, if I die, I don't want my house paid off, or I want to make sure my kids are not financially burdened with it. I don't want my wife to lose the house. I mean, you'll get all those are really good quality answers. And then you might get the other half of, I'm not really sure why. I thought I had to, or I saw the bank's name on the form, so I feel like I had to do it. I was obligated. I was just curious about the information. I just wonder how much it cost. I mean, those are all what I call smoke screens. Not really good quality answers. They're just really just a blanket statement that really doesn't give us any type of direction of what they're looking for. So the follow-up to those would be, okay, so I know you're concerned about the pricing. I mean, why do you want to know what kind of pricing is? I mean, are you concerned about, now, I try not to lead them on into give me a good answer, but I'm going to ask some probing questions to hopefully uncover the true, real meaning of why they sent that form in. Whether it be they were curious how much it costs because they're concerned if they die, their children will still be taken care of, or if it's someone that they know or close to them dealt with a similar situation where they may have lost the house. And I want to uncover what they're really thinking about, or put them back into that moment when they first fill out the actual card. Because, I mean, remember, we're usually a mortgage protection dealing with direct mail leads. So in order for us to get this lead card back, it gets mailed out to the actual client. They open the envelope, they fill it out, put their name, date of birth, any type of health challenges, phone number, best time to call. They're going to fold that thing back up, put it inside the return envelope, put a stamp on it, and put it outside in their mailbox. Whether it be on the house, down the driveway, they're taking a lot of action steps to get this information back to us so we can go out there and actually help them. So there has to be a trigger at some point throughout the whole entire process, or what we call getting them back into the moment, of what was really triggering them to fill out the actual lead card and what information are they truly looking for. So, I mean, unless you can get, like I said, a real solid answer, I mean, I'm going to spend a lot of time on the why, just to make sure I know what I'm here for, as well as to help direct them to what product may fit their needs the best. I mean, it may not be a term product. You might be looking at, hey, they already have stuff taken care of on the term side. Let's get something more permanent in place. Or, hey, they have nothing in place. You got to get some type of coverage. Maybe you're doing your mortgage protection as well as some filing expense burial options. So getting those different questions and really digging into that to that client of what they're looking for, it better helps that presentation go a little bit smoother and helps you as an agent give you some type of direction to run off of and go towards, and finally help that family the way that they actually need to be helped. So just recapping briefly, like I said, we got the bonding rapport. That's, like I said, that's going to be spending 5 to 7 minutes. Actually, let's hop over to the playbook. So the bonding rapport section, let's say about 5 to 7 minutes. Just a little bit of chit chat and getting to know the actual clients. Then we position or progress down to the process piece, which is those orange little boxes. It's like I said, it's telling the story versus the old way as well as the new way. then you hit each of those different boxes. So qualify and eligible. All the company wants to know today is what you guys want to qualify for and what you're eligible for. Best product program budget. My job is to figure out the best product and program budget. It does us no good to put something in place where it breaks the bank. All we do today is the application. That's, like I said, show them a copy of the I am your policy, basically giving them a glimpse of the carriers we actually work with so they feel a little bit more comfortable and trust that we deal with top-rated carriers and we help them shop around. Insurance carriers are going to say one of three things. No, maybe they want more information, or they're going to say yes. Draft first premium and immediate coverage. Like I said, very crucial piece to avoid getting hung up on the bank information at the very end. If they say yes, they will draft the first premium, which means immediate coverage. The whole underwriting piece takes about 5 to 7 days. Mail the policy. It's pretty straightforward. Once everything's good to go, they're going to mail out that policy to you. It takes about 7 to 10 days. And once you get your hands on that, that's what starts that Freeland period. 20 days go up in coverage, down in coverage, whatever you want to do with it, you're in full control the whole entire time. Does that sound good? So you said that's usually any type of questions come up, usually about bank draft, application process. Like I said, the key is to get those out of the way now before we get into the whole presentation and pitch, going into pricing and getting through the application. Then, like I said, number 3, the initial concern, figure out why they're sending in that form back. So you want to dig in for a real good, solid answer, and figure out what kind of moment they were experiencing that triggered them to send that card back into us. So we're almost short on time today, guys. But so that's the first part of our 4-part series, talking about mortgage protection in-home process. Next week, we're going to dig into the other sections of step 4, 5, and 6, getting into the personal lifestyle questions as well as some of those health questions and further progress on. So until then, we'll catch you guys next week. You guys take care.